The horns are angled back like that to help them run beneath low-lying underbrush to get away from predators. Both the male and the female bongos have horns.
Well, that was nice.
Coming up on the left-hand side here is the black rhino. The black rhinos can get up to about 3,000 pounds. However, they're still the smallest rhinos of the whole species. Rhinos are sadly very endangered in the wild. They've been heavily poached for their horns. Although their horns hold no medicinal value to us humans, they're made with the same protein called keratin, which is also found in our fingernails and our hair. Now we are actually very much in luck. There are even more bongos coming up on the right. Definitely much easier to see. Now there is a way you can tell a difference between the male and the female bongos. The male horn to be slightly longer, and their coats will typically turn a darker brown color as they mature in age. Now coming up ahead on the left, there is another one on the right as well. These tan animals are greater kudus. And these are both female kudus. Actually, all three of them. There's a third one hiding in the bushes. All three are female kudus, and we know that because they don't have any horns. Only the male kudus have horns. They are also the second tallest antelope here on the reserve. They stand at about 5 feet tall at the shoulder. Now, I haven't seen a male kudu around here in quite some time, but their horns are very impressive. The kudu's horns can grow to be about 6 feet long. So their horns are even longer than they are as tall. Well, it looks like we've seen everything there is to see here in the forest, so let's keep going. There's still plenty of ground to cover and plenty more animals to see. Now we're heading into the Safi River area. This area is going to be much different than the forest. It is more of a water environment, so of course it is going to invite a lot of different kinds of animals you want to get to see over in the forest. I do think I see some hippos up ahead, but really quick, up around the left-hand side, these big gray birds. Most of them are chilling on the island over there. Some are swimming around. Those are the pink-backed pelicans. They get their name because during their mating season, the feathers on their back turn a light pink color. Both the male and the female pelicans will tend to the nest, and their eggs take about 30 days to hatch. Now, also on the left-hand side, I do see a hippo. Hippos have very sensitive skin, so they usually stay submerged in water all day to help prevent them from getting sunburned. And they can stay fully submerged underwater for up to 8 minutes at a time. They'll typically come out once the sun goes down to graze on the vegetation that's nearby. They can eat about 60 to 90 pounds of vegetation each night. But there are some more hippos playing in the water over there. Might be kind of hard to see though.
There's a whole group. Look, there's humans in the wild.
Now over on the left-hand side are some Nile crocodiles. These crocodiles are the largest ones found in Africa. They grow to lengths of 16 feet long and weigh about 500 pounds. They can also eat about half of their body weight in one sitting. Now, crocodiles will cool down by leaving their mouths open. When they do that, that allows gas to escape their bodies to help lower their body temperatures. Now, what they're actually doing is adjusting their temperature to the outside temperature, and being able to do that is called being exothermic. Now, if it's ever just too hot one day and that's not really working out for them, they can also do it in the water as well. Now it does look like we are starting to change course away from the river and that the trees are opening up around us. Now really quick, coming up on the right hand side, that giant tree there is the baobab tree. The baobab tree is also called the upside down tree because its branches look like roots. And the baobab tree can also remain leafless about 9 months out of the year in order to conserve water and energy for the long droughts of Africa. The tree is also the indicator to let us know that we are now heading into the savannah. The savannah is home to some of the most iconic animals found in the wild, like giraffes, elephants, lions, and more. And this view is actually very similar to the view that the Disney animator saw about 25 years ago while doing a research safari for The Lion King. Now I do see some animals up ahead on the right. Let's keep going and let's try to get a bit of a closer look at them. The savannah is definitely one of the most diverse, indeed the largest environment here in Africa. But that does allow for those larger animals to safely and happily live here. For example, like giraffes and elephants, they want to do so well in a heavily dense forest. Over on the left-hand side, sleeping in that cave, there are some African wild dogs. The African wild dogs are also nicknamed the painted dogs because of their brightly colored coats. And African wild dogs are some of the most successful hunters here in Africa. They hunt together as a whole pack, and they don't give up until their prey collapses from exhaustion. Also on the left-hand side are some large brown antelopes. Those are the sable antelopes. Their long horns are angled back like that to help deter lions and other predators from wanting to jump on their backs. And they are also the official mascot of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now these orange pillars coming up on both sides of us here, these are termite mounds. Elephants like to use termite mounds as scratching posts because they are as hard as concrete. And termites use 3 ingredients while making these, and that's saliva, mud, and dung. Now coming up ahead on the left-hand side, these tan antelope here are the Patterson's elands. Elands are some of the largest antelope in the world, definitely the largest on the reserve. These are both female elands. They can get up to about 1,000 pounds, and the male elands can get up to about 2,000 pounds. Now, a really impressive fact about them is that they already stand 6 feet tall at the shoulder. However, they can still jump another 6 to 8 feet straight up into the air from the standing position. They have some very powerful legs.
There's a wild car.
Now I do see quite a bit of movement up ahead. Looks like there are 3 different kinds of animals. Now coming up ahead, those small tan gazelle with the white stomachs laying down, the ones closest to us, those are springbok. Springbok get their name from their ability to spring 6 to 8 feet into the air while running. And that large cattle with the very large horns in the center, that is the Ankole cattle. They're also nicknamed the Watusi cattle, named after the tribe that originally domesticated them. And I know those horns may look very heavy, but they're actually not. They are hollow on the inside with a honeycomb-like structure that allows blood veins to run through them, helping the blood cool down to help lower the body temperatures. And those gray animals just behind them are the white bearded wildebeest. The wildebeest name in Afrikaans means wild beast. And that's actually a very small herd for them. They typically travel in about 1 to 1.5 million in a herd. Now coming up ahead on the left-hand side, I do see some Maasai giraffes. We know they're Maasai giraffes because of the splotchy-like patterns they have on their coats. Now we do have a small herd crossing, maybe. A little group of giraffes is called a tower, which makes sense since they sort of tower over everything here in the savannah. Now that is a baby giraffe over there in the center. When a giraffe is first born, they start out at 6 feet tall. Then they grow to height of 18 to 20 feet tall. Now there is a giraffe crossing the road, so we are going to have to sit tight right here. Wait for it to decide where it wants to go. But giraffes will need to sleep for 30 minutes every day, and they usually do it standing or sitting as to not look vulnerable to predators. Then they can spend upwards of 20 hours every day just eating. They have a very fast metabolism.
That's the baby. It's in the way. There we go. That one's in the road.
Now when a giraffe is first born, they also have a 6-foot drop straight to the ground. Now I know that does sound kind of harsh, but giraffes tend to not stay in one place for too long. So by that drop, that does sort of wake the babies up and helps them to start moving at a much faster rate.
You're walking down the road.
And a little fun fact, much like our fingerprints, How none of us have the same fingerprints, a giraffe's pattern is like that as well. No two giraffes will ever look exactly the same.
Under construction. Disneyland toys. I've got it.
Now coming up on the right hand side are some African elephants. We know they're African elephants because of their ears. Their ears are actually shaped of the continent of Africa. And elephants will cool down by flapping their ears. They have blood vessels right behind them, so that helps the blood cool down to help lower the body temperature. But it is a bit of a cooler day today, so it seems like they don't really have to do that right now.
Steps going down.
Over on the left-hand side, towards the center, I do see a mandrill monkey. Mandrills are some of the largest monkeys in the world. The males can get up to about 100 pounds. They also have very stretchy cheek pockets, much like chipmunks do. They do also store food in there as well. Now, Rafiki from The Lion King is a mandrill monkey. They are wise, just like he is. Elephants are sadly very endangered in the wild. They've been heavily poached for their tusks. And there are also a lot of problems between elephants and African farmers. They were considered crop-raiding animals because during their migration periods, they would walk around and accidentally trample over some of those farmers' fields. But with help of the Disney Conservation Fund, Disney promoted some research and found out that elephants are terrified of bees. When they hear the bees buzz, they'll turn around and go the other way. So to help the farmers out, Disney made beehive fences. Not only did that help save their crops, but the farmers also benefit from selling the honey.
Nice.
And now we are coming up on some red clay pits. And I do see some elephant tusk marks over on the left and the right. Elephants like to come over to the clay pits to scratch at the clay, and they eat it because it makes up for minerals you'll find in their everyday diets. Now over on the left, that is the baby elephant there. If you look closely, you can see she is starting to get her tusks in. Unfortunately, I can't fully stop right here, but I'll definitely go as slow as I can. Now, elephants do typically travel in herds. However, sometimes the males will go off to form bachelor groups, leaving the females and the babies alone in the herd. But that's also not a bad thing. Like I said, they are sadly endangered in the wild. So by the males doing that, that will potentially help them meet other females to help repopulate the elephants. Elephants do also have very sensitive skin, so to help with that, they'll take mud, dirt, grass, or any other items they can find to throw on their backs. They use that as a natural sunblock. And you can see their trunks are very nimble and flexible. They do use it as a sort of extended arm and hand. They're able to wrap their trunks around items to help feed them, or they will actually inhale water in their trunks and spray it to their mouths to help them drink water. Now coming up ahead on the left hand side are some greater flamingos. These flamingos have a diet of brine shrimp, which is a bit different than the shrimp that we eat. Brine shrimp has a vitamin called carotene in it, and that's what turns their feathers that bright pink color. When a baby flamingo is born, they start out as gray, and it takes about 2 years for their feathers to turn pink. The greater flamingos are also the lightest pink shade and the tallest of the whole species. These ones here can get up to about 5 feet tall. And coming up ahead, about to cross this road right here, that is the white rhino. The white rhinos here can get up to about 5,000 pounds. And their name comes from the Afrikaans word wijd, which actually means wide, not white. They have a bit of a wider mouth than their relative black rhinos do. I do have a bit of a rhino crossing right here, so I'm gonna have to sit tight, just let the whole herd catch up. Now, a group of rhinos like this is called a crash, which is actually kind of funny because rhinos aren't very hard of seeing. They more so see the shapes rather than the details. So when they're running and stampeding, half the time they may not really know where they're going. However, their other senses do make up for it. They have an excellent sense of smell and hearing. Over on the center, or in the center, sorry, that is a mud pit. The rhinos will typically be found not too far away from this mud pit because they also have sensitive skin. So they love to take mud baths. Not only will the mud help soothe their skin, but it also acts as a natural bug repellent. And that's why sometimes they look a bit different in color too. Right, coming up ahead in front of us, both on both the left and the right hand side, those are Bontabak. Bontabak are sadly extinct in the wild. They've been heavily poached for their coats because their coats have a purplish sheen to them when shined in the right light. However, they are thriving in human reserves such as this one. Now, if you look just above these Bontabak towards that middle where the grass is meeting the dirt, those are some cheetahs. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals. They run at speeds of 65 miles an hour. However, they are built for speed, not power. They can only run that fast for about 100 yards, or about the length of a football field. Cheetahs also have non-retractable claws, which means their claws are always out, but that does help them steer and maneuver while running. They can run at about, it's sort of like us using cleats for sports. Over on the right-hand side are some ostriches. Ostriches are the largest birds in the world. However, they are flightless, but they do use their wings to help steer and maneuver while running. They can run at about 40 miles an hour. There's another cheetah a little bit closer as well.
Oh, wow.
Now we are coming up on some Kofi rocks. Kofi rocks like these are what lions like to call home because it provides an excellent overlook of the savannah. Lions do definitely prefer higher ground. Not only will that help them watch for oncoming potential predators, but it'll also help them watch for prey as well.
Dang, they're all crossing the road today.
Why the ostrich crossing? Hey, look, there goes one.
The animals in general definitely do prefer cooler weather, so it does help them become more active. Which is why a lot of them are crossing the road and traveling a lot further than they normally do. Now over on the left hand side, I do see a male and a female lion laying down. The female lions will do most of the hunting in the pride, while the male lions will typically stay back to protect the pride. And the lion's roar can be heard from up to 5 miles away. Now that male lion's mane can get up to about 40 pounds, which is a whole lot of hair if you ask me. Now this may surprise you, but during the daytime, our eyesight and a lion's eyesight are close to about the same. But at night, a lion's night vision is 6 times better than ours, which makes them very successful nighttime hunters. They are also more nocturnal creatures, so they're most active at night. They also like to sleep or rest about 16 to 20 hours every day. However, they're not just sleeping all day. They are one of the top hunters here in Africa, so of course it does require a whole lot of energy. So while they sleep and rest, they are also saving, building, and conserving the energy to have more successful hunts during the nighttime. Coming up ahead on the left hand side, if you look just to the right of those green rocks, there are some warthogs laying down. Warthogs are the largest burrowing animals. They like to go into the burrows backwards with their tusk facing out, so they're ready to defend themselves if a predator were to come by. And they are also surprisingly fast. They do run at about 35 miles an hour with their tail straight up in the air, just like Pumbaa from Lion King.
Or ostrich.
Now coming up ahead on the right hand side, those eggs that are by that tree, those are ostrich eggs. Ostrich eggs are the largest eggs in the world, which makes sense since they are the largest birds. One ostrich egg can weigh about the same as 2 dozen chicken eggs. They are also very durable as well. The average fully grown man can stand on top of an egg without cracking it.
Very bumpy.
Now we are heading into the Magadi Glen. Magadi in Swahili means hot springs.
Oh.
I do see an animal all the way towards the very end here. Let me go around this corner really quick. Now coming up on the left hand side, that is the scimitar horn oryx. Oryxes like these can go up to 9 months out of the year without drinking any water. However, they do get water from their herbivore diet. And to also help them save and conserve on water, they don't start to sweat until their body temperature reaches 115 degrees Fahrenheit.
Woo.
Well, friends, it does look like we're coming to the end of our journey today, but we did see some pretty great animals. If you'd like to see more animals, you can visit the Gorilla Falls Trail right next door to us. There you see animals like gorillas, zebras, meerkats, and more. And if you'd like to help any of the animals you saw today, you can visit any merchandise location here across the park. There you can come around to purchase up to the next dollar and donate to that Disney Conservation Fund. Disney will match every donation dollar for dollar, and you also get a special little pin for donating as well. One of the plans that the Disney Conservation Fund has is to help out the lions. Sadly, there are only 20,000 lions left, which makes them very endangered. And Disney plans to help double the amount of lions found in the wild by the year 2050.
That's 40,000?
And if I have any wilderness explorers on board today,
they said
the
double.
name of this truck is Simba 1. That is SIMBA 1. Well, I hope everyone had a wild time here today at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Once again, my name is Shauna, but friends, here in Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye. That is way too sad and way too final. Instead, we say Kwaherini, which means go well. So Kwaherini, friends, go well, go wild, and have a wonderful day here at Animal Kingdom.